I'm Amy from Doodle Dog Designs, and today I'm going to show you how to assemble this punch needle scene. Let's get started. Okay, I'm starting out with a paper mache box that I have painted and distressed, and then I put a light wax on it. And my first step is to put the fence on. If you want to know how I built the fence, check out the video in the description below. And I drilled holes in both ends of the fence, right at the bottom, and then a couple places in the middle. And then I drilled corresponding holes, 2 holes for each spot in the box lid. So then I want to take some very thin wire. I'm going to cut 4 pieces of wire, 3 or 4 inches long, 1 piece for each one of my holes in the fence. Then I'm going to poke the wire through the hole in the fence, and through the 2 holes that I drilled in the box. And then take it to the underside. Get it so it's standing up, and take it to the underside and twist. Twist the wires. And then do the next hole in the fence. Repeat for all the holes in the fence. So now I have a backdrop here for my scene. Okay, the next step is to decide where I want to place everything. I have this punch needle bunny, and she's going to be holding a rake, and I also have some cabbages that I made out of wool felt. And I have a garden sign. So I'm just going to kind of rearrange them a bit until I like how they look. I think something like that looks good. So I'm going to glue and sew the rake onto the bunny's arm. I've got a needle and thread. I'll stitch that on a few times. And I'm also going to add just a little bit of glue on the underside here to keep it where I want it to be. And then I'm going to set that to dry. While the bunny's rake is drying onto her arm, I'm going to glue each one of the cabbages onto the box. I'm going to lightly lift it up and put a dot in the middle so I know where to put it. I'm going to place a liberal amount of glue onto the bottom of the cabbage. I like to use a toothpick instead of just squeezing the tube. I think I have better control over where the glue goes and how much I get. Then find my dot and press it on. And then I'm going to take some glue and add to the bottom of the bunny. Then I'm going to place the bunny down and press really hard. Make sure it gets stuck down everywhere. After getting this scene all put together, I feel like it needs a splash of color along the fence, so I'm going to make some little sprigs of grass. Alright, I want to make some little sprigs of tall grass to place around the fence. So I've got some jute. This is just regular thin jute. Thick jute would also work, you just get bigger sprigs. And I'm going to tie knots just randomly along the string. Okay, and then I'm going to cut right below each knot. So each little piece has a knot and then a length of string. Then you want to take a needle or a pin and untwist the strings in the jute. Now I'm going to take 2 colors of green craft paint and a dry brush, and I'm going to dab my paintbrush into the paint and then dab it off onto a rag, and then brush the paint onto the string. And I'll just set those aside to dry. Okay, once I've got all my pieces dry, I'm going to bundle them all up together into an arrangement that I like, and then I'm going to clip off the knots, and then I'm going to dip the very tip, the end, into a little bit of glue and rub the glue around really good. Make sure it gets in around all the pieces of string, and then squeeze the end together and set that aside to dry. And I'll separate that out later after the glue dries. Now that I've got the grasses all made, I'm going to glue them onto the fence. I'm going to dab a little bit of glue onto the bottom and then some glue along one side, and I'm going to push it up against the fence. I'll stick them right there. I think that adds a nice little touch of color to the fence area. When I go to put all this together, it's going to be a little bit top heavy, so I'm going to create a weight to go in the bottom of the box. I'm going to take the paper mache box and put it over a piece of fabric. I'm going to trace all the way around the outside of the box. I'm going to layer this on top of another piece of fabric, and that will be my cutting line for the 2 pieces, and then I will sew those together and fill it with a heavier substance. I'm going to use walnut shells. This is a great way to use up just scraps. It doesn't really matter if they match. It's going to be inside the box, and the box, when I get all done, will be fastened shut. So I will stitch a 1/4 inch seam all the way around and leave an opening for filling it, and then I will fill it with my walnut shells and sew the opening closed. I'm going to put glue all over on one side of the bag of crushed walnut shells, and then I'm going to place it inside the bottom of the box. Press it down good, and then let that dry. Now my final step is to glue the box lid onto the box. I don't want people opening the box and unwinding any of my wires here, so I'm going to put glue around the rim of the lid here, and then I will put it onto the box. I want to make sure that I've got the seam on the box towards the back of my project, and just place the box on. Okay, I have some orange Sculpey clay here, and I'm going to create little balls that are flat on one side and just slightly rounded on the other. And I'm going to use these for carrot tops, and I'm going to then add some yarn to them. So I just make a circle and then kind of flatten it out so I have a flat bottom so it'll sit flat, and then round the top back up a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to poke holes using a piece of wire into all the way through it so that I can attach these to my box later, and also at the same time I will be attaching the carrot tops. And I'm actually using a wire a little bit bigger than what I'm going to use later when I assemble these. Now I will put these in the oven as instructed on the package, and then I will finish the carrots later. Now my carrot tops are all dry. I'm going to take some pieces of green yarn, and these are about 5 inches long. I forgot to mention these are about 1/2 inch in diameter. Take a piece of thin wire and put it in the middle of the yarn. And then I'm going to hold the yarn tight up like this and then give it a twist. That will kind of help hold the yarn on the wire. And then I'm going to poke the wires through the holes in the carrot top. For now I'm going to give it a single twist, and then these will go through the top of the box like we did the fence. So then I'm going to take the individual strands of yarn and separate those out. To give it more of a leafy appearance. There, now I have a little carrot top that I can stick on my box. Now for Mr. Bunny, I've taken an old key and tied a piece of jute on so that it can hang here at his waist, and then I'm going to tie that in his front here like a belt. I'll clip the ends off here. In his scene, he's going to have a wheelbarrow full of carrots. I got this wheelbarrow in the Very Garden section at Hobby Lobby, and it was red. I spray painted it black, and then I made 3 little carrots. These are made of wool that I just cut a triangle and sewed up along the edge, and then I stuffed it with some stuffing and added the yarn that I just separated the strands of the yarn to make it look fluffy. So I'm going to glue each one of those into the wagon there, and then we can start to assemble this scene. Now with this second box, I've got the fence all wired on like I did on the first one, and I've decided where I want my wheelbarrow full of carrots, and I've drilled holes, 2 on either side of each of these and 1 on either side of the wheel. And I'm going to take wire just like I did with the fence and put it around there and then stick it through the holes. Once you get it through the holes, the wire through the holes, turn it over, pull the wire tight, and give it a couple of twists. And then I'll do that also on the wheel here. And then the carrots, I had wired the carrot tops on with the wire, so I have this wire sticking out the bottom. So we also drilled holes where I want each one of the carrots to be, and I will attach them in the same manner. I sewed and glued the bunny shovel on here just as I did the rake on the other bunny. And this bunny was the same pattern as the other bunny, but instead of putting a shirt on, I just drew a line here at the waist and here along the top of his leg there, and I punched this the same color as the other bunny's shirt. So then I'm going to put glue on the bottom here and glue that right in there. And once that's dry, I'll add glue to the inside of the lid like I did the other one and glue it onto the bottom of the box. If you like this video, be sure to click the like button down below and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye.